Time is 1:38. Came back home about half an hour ago, so it's kind of fresh in my mind, but I just watched Project Hail Mary. This was at VMAX. I watched it at 9 p.m., finished around midnight, came back home at around 12:30, and here we are. So basically, yeah. I'm going to say this while it's still fresh in my mind. Project Hail Mary. Loved it. The movie just kind of came out of nowhere. I saw Ryan Gosling. I was like, that's enough for me. And it is such a spectacle. I love this movie. It is truly such a spectacle. Okay, it looks like my battery's about to run out. I'm gonna replace that real quick. Camera focused. Yep. Sorry about that. Battery is now changed, so that's all done. So Project Hail Mary. Did I know what it was? No. Have I read the source material, the novel? No. I was clueless into this film. It was something out of nowhere, but it was a space spectacle, and I happen to like those. I've seen The Martian. I really like that. I've seen Interstellar. I really like that. So I watched this movie with my friend. We watched it in VMAX 4K. So just the experience itself the cinema experience was really great, and just watching on that big screen, fantastic. And this movie, what's the word? It's like a bit of a slow burner. You're gonna put in the same, like early in the film, you're gonna be kind of put in the same shoes as the main character, Grace. And then it goes along with this relationship between him and this alien. I think that's how much the trailer showed. I watched the trailer after the movie. I don't watch trailers before the movie, especially if it's for a movie that I'm really, really hyped up for. Like, I haven't seen trailers for Doomsday, Dune Part 3, Spider-Man. Even in the cinemas, I'm like blocking out the noise, closing my eyes, just avoiding trailers. Now, about the actual film, Project Hail Mary, I guess best way I could say it is it's beautiful, It really is such a beautiful movie. Not just in visuals, but in how it makes you feel, especially between these two characters. I mean, there's this overarching tension being built up with him having to save his planet, like trying to understand why this is this, and how can he use this knowledge and bring it back home. Similar thing with the rock guy, whose name is Rocky. This movie, I feel like it's best treated if you watch it in IMAX, with a really good sound system like Dolby. I think it's called Dolby Atmos. There are some stunning visuals in this film. Like, I don't want to say it because that'll be kind of like a spoiler, but I will say you're in for a treat in terms of the visuals. And it's really easy to fall in love with the characters, because there's essentially two characters. There is, I guess you could say, 3 or 4 that have a bit more of a major role, but you won't see them as much as the two main characters, that being Grace and Rocky. And, the movie makes a really good job. Specifically in my case, I fell in love with the two characters, Grace and the rock alien, also known as Rocky. They did a fantastic job. They have great chemistry together, and I feel like they did a great job in getting the audience to like them. I'm not sure how it is in the book. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if this is true, but they are staying true to the source material. I did hear from my friend who watched the film with me, he told me that there's an extended version, like a 4-hour version, so they cut a lot. I would like to see that. I am happy with what I've watched. But yeah, I mean, this movie is really great. There's a lot of questions will be brought up at the start of the film, but they eventually get answered over time. And you're kind of, like I said, you're kind of put in the same shoes as Grace, the main character, Ryan Gosling's character. You're put in the same shoes as Grace is, and you're kind of learning about him as he is learning about himself, because he's, trying to remember who he is, that kind of thing. So you're put in the same shoes. You learn about Grace as Grace is learning about himself. And then when that happens, there's like this. Oh, actually, no, that happens during his relationship build up with Rocky. There's also a lot of tension as well. There's this big threat, but there's also these minor threats in like the obstacles he has to go through to be able to complete his objective. Like there's this one where it's akin to a life or death kind of situation where he's in peril, everything's just going crazy, but they have to do it. It's with. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about with the. If I say ship, atmosphere, escape. You'll know what I'm talking about if you see the movie, but like there is some tension. Not just that. Actually, towards the end, there's obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Like the first half is like a slow burner, and then towards the end, that's where problems start building up. But I I kind of really like that because we're like, we're so close to the finish line, but we can't just. But there's stuff getting in the way. But how important this mission is, and they really have to drive it back home. Really bring their A game to finish the mission. And it can't be completed with just one person. It has to be him and Rocky. Now, this one thing I will say is that this is more of how they explain how Grace, Ryan Gosling's character, I keep saying that, but you probably know by now since I keep saying it, but Grace was able to understand Rocky's language by building a vocabulary for him. Like he would commit sounds and then he would build vocabulary that would match the sounds, and then they kept doing that. I don't know how many days, but he was dedicated to the work. So he had no phones, no distractions, no split screen with Subway Surfers, just him and the Rock. But I guess they didn't really say how Rocky could understand Grace. It seems like, in fact, I think it seemed like Rocky almost understood Grace at the start, but I did like their relationship. I think the excuse that I gave it to them is that Rocky happened to be really good at or it was like a more intelligent species than Grace. Oh, than humans, not Grace. So he was able to somehow, I guess, reverse engineer whatever Grace was doing and understood what he was saying and all that. That was pretty much the only thing apart from that. It was just a beautiful story, beautiful visuals. This movie does. I cannot stress how beautiful it is in terms of the movie, especially with it being set in space. Like, it's magnifique. What else can I say? I like the ship designs. Grace's ship, the human ship, was, it was cool. But I really liked Rocky's ship. His ship was really cool. The exterior was like this mysterious, but also really cool looking ship. And when, we eventually get to the interior, it's just a beautiful light show. A light show and a sound show. Oh, it's just beautiful because the ship's interior, it's like a giant orchestra, because Rocky, the rock alien, can only communicate through sounds. He uses echolocation and all that, so I guess the whole ship's interior is like strings and the lot. So, really enjoyed this film. It was quite a fun journey. Oh, I will want to one day, I don't know how, watch the full director's cut, the 4 hour version of this film. Oh, and pick up the book, because I mean, yeah. I did the same thing with Dune, It was a fantastic movie, and so is this one. Project Hail Mary. Wow. I'm watching movies in IMAX. I'm watching movies in 4K, and now it seems like I just can't really go back. But yeah, really enjoyed this film. I would recommend. I am gonna recommend to others. Like, you find a free night, just watch this. Kind of get lost in it. I think it's a fantastic film. Again, I don't know anything about films, but I do know this. I enjoy it. I invest my time into it, and I think it's worth it. That's all I had to say for it. Thank you for watching. stay safe and have a good one.